Let us start with the universal invocation. Concentrate our mind to the divine teacher who are the behind the Theosophical Society. Let us invoke their blessings for the important subject which Brother U.S. Pandey is going to present us. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom. O hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May each who feels himself as one with thee know he is also one with every other. Silence for a moment. Thank you. Brother U.S. Pandey, at present, National Lecturer of the Indian Section Theosophical Society. He also international speaker, as well as President of Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand Federation. Side by side, he is a very popular figure in the India, not only in India, but outside also India. He travels a lot. And also he published a book, the members who can collect that book, which was published recently by the Indian section with the help of Indian section. And he is also council member of the Indian section as well as executive committee member. So he has a vast experience of study, presenting theosophy in different way to different people in different platforms. So with this short introduction, now I invite Brother U.S. Pandey to complete this esoteric philosophy in the secret doctrine third part.
Okay. Thank you, Brother Mahapatraji, for introducing me and subject. Dear brothers and sisters, I am very happy to join this meeting. I extend my warm greetings and best wishes to you all. The philosophy of this secret esoteric doctrine, the secret doctrine, the philosophy of the foundation of esoteric doctrine and philosophy. We have taken 2 sessions earlier during previous month, and we have covered subjects: 1 fundamental law, 4 basic ideas, 3 fundamental propositions, 6 number items, 5 proven facts. Today, I propose to cover the remaining points, which will be 3 new propositions, conclusion, secret doctrine, and IC Sunway 10-point summary. These were recommended by Blodsky herself while explaining how to study the secret doctrine. She said that a serious student of secret doctrine should go through these paras or these chapters or these sections first before attempting to take up the secret doctrine study in detail from first page to last page. So, and I found this prescription by Blodsky, myself, I found it useful, and I do recommend for that. That's why when I was asked by the Mahapatra to take up the series of lectures on secret doctrine, I took it first. So 3 new propositions. Previous subjects have been mostly from the Secret Doctrine Volume 1. Now 3 new propositions of the Secret Doctrine Volume 2. The first volume of the Secret Doctrine, as you know, the title is Cosmogenesis, and the second volume is Anthropogenesis. That means first volume covers the evolution, emanation, and development of cosmos, solar system, and appearance of Earth, and till the appearance of man. And second volume, the secret doctrine, anthropogenesis, which covers the evolution of man on the Earth, different rounds, different races, covered in detail. But basis of both these volumes are the sacred stanzas, the first stanza of John, which is taken from the most ancient book, as Brodsky says, and written in sign language. So she has taken this one, 3 new propositions. In that, she covers one modern or one updated position regarding the evolution of scientific view and occult view. Modern science insists upon the doctrine of evolution. That means that evolution, the modern science does admit, there's nothing like sudden appearance of anything. Evolution is gradual, the time circle that modern science is also accepting. In earlier periods, some of the scientists proposed the theory of Big Bang, that means sudden appearance, but now the science has also come to the view that evolution in an ordered fashion, gradual fashion.
पांडे जी आपकी आवाज बहुत कम आ रही है।
हाँ?
आवाज बहुत कम आ रही है।
Okay, I will speak loudly then. Volume to 100 है। अभी ठीक है? Now it is all right? Hello?
Yes,
It's
yes.
better. Sir, it's better.
Okay. So modern science insists upon the doctrine of evolution, and so do human reason and the secret doctrine. And the idea is corroborated by the ancient legends and myths, and even by the Bible itself when it is read between the lines. Bible or our Purana, Vishnu Purana, particularly Vishnu Purana, they also mention the evolution in form of a story and some descriptions, narration. And in daily observations, we see the trees growing from the seed, then flowering, then again fruit comes, fruit ripens, and this again converts into seed, and the seed again goes to tree. We see the baby born, being young, then becomes a young man, then becomes a middle-aged, then old person, and then the days come. And we see death and birth every day or every moment. Not only human beings, but animals and the plants also. So this shows that some process of evolution, gradual evolution is going on according to some order, according to some law. Evolution speaks for itself. What is evolution? The germ of present human, for example, we are present human being, was already in our previous incarnations. For example, just like the seed of the matured fruit now was already in the previous incarnation, you can say, or previous stage of the evolution of the tree. The tree in the seed that lies the hidden flower of next summer and was developed in the capsule of the parent flower. The parent may be but slightly different, but it still differs from its progeny. The parent and progeny may differ in the shape, in the qualities, but it is definitely that the parent and the progeny at every kingdom, not only human kingdom. We read in our Puranic stories and also Bible that in earlier periods, men were of colossal height, that means very much high. In fact, secret doctrine says 100 feet and 60 feet and all that. Which you call antediluvian ancestors. That means ancestors which happened on the earth before the pralaya, before the diluvian. So, and we also know that dinosaurs and all this are mentioned by science of huge size. So she says the antediluvian ancestors of the present elephant and lizard, perhaps the mammoth and very large sizes. Then why should not the progenitors of our human race have been the giants of the Vedas, the Vastulas, and book of Genesis? In all these, it is said that our predecessors have been very giant size. I don't know the story of Ravana, Hanuman, and Ravan being described as much larger size. So, so on that analogy, we can also assume or conclude that human body was also much larger size in previous races.
There is some problem. In internet connection. Brother Pandey ji is trying to connect us. So she is always. Yes, sir. Kindly connect.
Okay, it is now okay? Hello?
Yes, okay. Not, here, video is not proper.
Your figure is not proper.
Come with
Something has
your
gone.
larger screen. Kindly silence your background.
Huh?
Here a larger screen, it is in the mobile. You come with a laptop.
Yeah.
Make a
Mobile,
laptop,
I will speak in
laptop
mobile.
screen video on, make it.
Hmm? What do you say?
Laptop video, kindly make it. It is, video is closed. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. There's some problem. So now it's okay?
Kindly stop
sorry.
the background sound. There are some sound is coming in from the background.
Not in my background.
Yes, sir. There is a mobile. That mobile you stop.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
Now you can continue. Yes.
okay. Sorry. Sorry for interruption. So,
Yes.
the transformation of a species to have taken place according to some of the more materialistic view of evolution. It is but natural to think that each genus, beginning with the mollusci, that means what we call sea, and ending with man, has modified from its own primordial distinct form. secret doctrine makes another distinct point. Even in interpretation of secret doctrine, there is some confusion. Normally, sciences and some students of secret doctrine also feel that monad is evolving from element to mineral to plant to animal to human being. So some people think that probably the same form is changing different form. That meant when we are animal, the animal form is again modified in human form, but that is not so. Only monadic essence is traveling in all these kingdoms and taking experience. Even this different type of animals, there are different type of animals. In human being, there are different type of body configurations. So this is not a particular body configuration or a particular type of species of animal is not evolved from a different species of animal or different class of that other kingdom. What secret doctrine says, every form is materialized from its ideal form, which is in the Akasha, which is the ideal, and that is there. So every animal, say lion and dog and cat, they are not evolving from each other. Those souls may be traveled from the elementary kingdom to the highest kingdom of animal, but every form is itself is independently made, ideal form. And this is what quantum mechanics is also today more or less accepting. That idealized forms are there already when in the divine plan, and every form is concretized and materialized according to its stage of evolution. So this was in Isis unveiled, and then we say firmly known in Secret Doctrine 2. The stanzas with the commentary there in the volume are drawn from the same ancient record as I told you in Cosmogony in volume 1. The three propositions are, new propositions are, the simultaneous evolution of 7 human groups on 7 different portions of our globe. And 2, the birth of astral before the physical body, the former being a model for the latter, and the man in this round preceded every mammalian or anthropoid included in animal kingdom. Now, these 3 propositions appear directly in contradiction to the scientific theory of evolution of Darwin and others, and also in contradiction to the description given in our theology, Dharma Shastra, whether it be Bible or Quran. But there is evidence he quotes in Bible about the third proposition, which will come later. The first proposition is simultaneous evolution of 7 groups of human beings. Normally, it is said in the science also, and also in Purana, Hindu Purana, that one man and one woman, because human stage, they were first produced, and then from that their progeny then populated the earth. But secret doctrine proposition is saying the 7 groups of men were brought together on 7 different zones of Earth. Brought from where? From the moon chain, from the planet, where the evolution is going on already. And 7 groups of men, what does it mean? It means that, as you know, 7 rounds and 7 is going on. The seed of all these 7 groups were brought together and different zones, and gradually they are evolving. But all these seeds of all the races, already came on the earth at the same time. This is what does it mean. Then the birth of astral body before the physical body. No, this astral body concept is not there in the science. Even our religious scriptures do not mention astral body. But in secret doctrine, while describing the bodies, it is clearly shown that there is the astral body, which forms the mold of the physical body. So astral body became first. If you go to the stanzas of Secret Doctrine, Volume 2, there is a beautiful poetic description that when Earth is requesting Sun to populate the Earth by human being, then Sun is directing her to talk to her parent, that is Moon. So from the Moon, the Pitri, Chandra Pitri, Moon Pitri, they give their Chaya Sharir, that is the astral body. In that astral body, then Earth puts the material out of which the physical body of human being formed. So astral body is first made. not only the astral body, then before that, buddhic body, mental body, vision comes, but here astral body is given. Then third proposition is that the birth of human being preceded in this round before every mammalian. In earlier rounds, mammalian came first, but in fifth round, why human being came first? Because fifth round is meant for perfection of human monad. And that's why it is given precedence over the other monad, like mammalian monad, because it takes time to reach perfection at that level. She said in the Genesis of the Old Testament of the Bible, there's an indication when it says in verse 7 of Genesis 2, Adam is formed in verse 7 and verse 19 it is said, out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. Now here sequence is citing when she's saying the God formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, that the bird and the beast were formed, and they're brought to man to name it. That means man was already there before the beast and the animal were evolved in this round by the God or by the divine power or divine plan. So thus the man was created before the animals. For the animals mentioned in chapter 1 or the science of zodiac, while the man, male and female, is not man, but the host of the. There is term male and female in the Bible. She says the male and female does not mean the man and women, but it means that host of Sephiroth. Sephiroth means Prajapatis, and that means ideas of man form, what we call heavenly man or Purushottama. Man is God image and of his likeness. The Adam man is not made in that likeness, not it is asserted in the Bible. Moreover, the second Adam is esoterically a septenary, which represents 7 men or other groups of men. For the first Adam, the Kadmon is the synthesis of the 10 Sephiroth of the first Adam or Kadmon. Kadmon is a given term in Chaldean philosophy to the heavenly man and to what we in Hindu philosophy call Purushottama. That means first Purusham. So that means the second Logos or third Logos, which come first. And they are the model of the individual human being who are born later. So the admon of these upper triad remains on the archetical world as the future trinity. The Purushottam or the admon or the heavenly man remains as a trinity. 3 aspects are there, and they gradually evolve over the time, over the races, over the rounds, into various human beings having different qualities and different level of development of consciousness, leading to perfection to his own level. That Purushottam or Adam Karman, heavenly man. From that, all the human monads are coming and finally journeying to reach that level. The Genesis and the mysteries upon which it is fabricated came from the Egypt. The God of the first chapter of Genesis, the Logos, and the Lord God of the second chapter, the creative Elohim or lower power. Now here she is making difference between the God and Lord God as given in the Genesis of Bible. God she's saying means Logos. Logos means the head of this solar system, what we call Ishvara, and the Lord God means lower powers. That means Prajapatis and lower intelligences, which are tasked with making human beings and others according to the divine plan given the mind of Logos or Mahat. So this is the 3 propositions given in the Secret Doctrine, Volume 2. Now coming to the conclusions, which is given almost at the end of the Secret Doctrine, Volume 2. This is also very important to understand the deeper philosophy given in the Secret Doctrine. The Secret Doctrine includes in its vast embrace not only grand metaphysics of the esoteric tradition, but also the story of evolution for all forms of life on our planet and a prospect of the future that awaits mankind. Now, this volume 2, Anthropogenesis, describes not only man's evolution right from the beginning on this earth up to the present stage where we are, that fourth round, fifth ray, but also briefly describes what is the future goal. That means up to what point we'll reach next. That means fifth round and sixth round and seventh round, those descriptions are very brief. And up to fifth ray, the descriptions are detailed. Beyond the facts available to science, so long as it is restricted in the use of traditional tools or other facts, science does not know this future stage of evolution, nor the previous evolution as given in the secret doctrine, because she says science doesn't use the tools which are necessary for understanding, for knowing these vast period of development, various stages. In giving glimpse of the secret doctrine to an age in which the forces of materialism science were battling against the entrenched positions of superstition, religion, Madame Blonsky sought to show the limitation of the one and the hindrance of the other. Madame Blonsky, in her writings and secret doctrine, and also other writings, always show the limitation of science and also the theology. That means description of our scriptures, whether it may be Hindu scriptures or Bible scriptures or Chaldean scripture. And then the fivefold aim of what that secret doctrine, she clearly mentioned the preface is to show that nature is not a fortuitous and concurrence of atoms. Nature is not a accidental aggregation, accidental coming together of atoms. There is a divine plan, there is an outline, idealized plan, everything, and the atoms assemble to make that form. And second is to assign to man his rightful place in the scheme of universe. Rightful place of man universe. Again, theology and science do not explain this correctly. What is the place, what is the purpose of human life, with the secret doctrine mentioned. And thirdly, to rescue from degradation the archaic truth, which are the basis of all religions. The truth, the basis behind the religions, is concealed, is rather dim to present human being. So secret doctrine uncovers that basis. Then next is to uncover to some extent the fundamental unity from which they all spring. To uncover the fundamental unity from which all the evolution is going on. That means Parabrahman, absolute, one life, one consciousness. And finally, to show that occult side of nature has never been approved by the science of modern civilization. These are the 5 points which she mentioned the preface to the Secret Doctrine, Volume 1, the purpose of the writing Secret Doctrine, and purpose of giving so much information, varied, stanza, their commentary, and supported by sayings in the Hindu Puranas, Vedas, Chaldean philosophy, Kabbalah, and other ancient scriptures. The conclusion to the work indicates something of the ground covered in her attempt to achieve that aim. Conclusion, which is given here, covers the grounds which she has done in volume 1, volume 2. Then the conclusions as mentioned at page 794 of volume 1, 794 to 98. She has given briefly the whole effort what for it is made in writing Secret Doctrine. It is said that we have concerned ourselves with the ancient records of the nations, with the doctrine of chronological and psychic cycles. Now, evolution is going on cycles. That is also detailed described in the Secret Doctrine. There are articles of the cycles also by Blonsky herself and other learned theosophists. So, but cycle is not only for physical evolution. Cycle is for at every level, even astral, mental, and more important, the whole psyche. That means Kama Manas and also Buddhi Manas. They want the cycle. And with many other subjects which may at first sight seem out of place in the volume, and many other subjects are covered the Secret Doctrine. Sometimes it is first time the reader feels that probably these are all scattered, they are not, they are disconnected. But once we go through more deeply, we find that every page or every para, or every chapter and every subject is interconnected. So she has tried to give the evolution in a wholesome manner. And these are the, she said, these are the necessary truths to develop the human mind, to first to awaken the human mind, to develop the intuition. In dealing with the secret annals and traditions of so many nations, whose very origins have never been ascertained on more secure grounds than inferior suppositions given out the belief of philosophy of more than prehistoric races. In these writings of Brodsky, he says, the details are given of prehistoric races. That means modern history does not mention anything about it, because modern history is only about 4,000 or 5,000 years old, recorded. Before that, there's no record in the outer world. But records are there in the occult world with the master. The secret doctrine was the common property of the countless millions of men born under various climes in times with which the history refuses to deal. The secret doctrine, she says, the record of the countless races, countless millions of men were born from the very time the earth started manifesting, appearing in this form. That means fourth chain of the earth. And dates which have been assigned to various stages, they're also taken from those records. Birth and evolution of the sacred science of the past are lost in the way. This is called sacred science. Sometimes we call secret science, and other times sacred science, pavitra science of the past are lost in the very night of the time, and that even which is historic, that is which around scattered but here and there throughout ancient classical literature is in almost every case attributed by modern criticism to lack of the. He said these ancient facts are scattered in ancient scriptures here and there, but not in coherent form. And the modern thinkers and modern intellectual man consider all this as obscure and also the product of the ignorance and superstition. Every case, modern science, they criticize it as the writers of superstition born out of the ignorance of antiquity. It is therefore impossible to treat this subject as one with the ordinary evolution of an art or science in some way known. Therefore, he says it is impossible to treat this subject in ordinarily known method of knowing any art or science of present day. It is only by bringing before the reader an abundance of proof, all tending to share this in every age, under every condition of civilization and knowledge, the educated philosophers of every nation made themselves more or less faithful because of one identical system and fundamental tradition. That means, she says, if you look at ancient records, that means prehistoric records, then it appears that in every age there are human beings who have known all these things. That means their previous incarnation, the evolution stage, and all that record is based on that actual experience of those men, those human beings. So what was this? But there is also mentioned there is one source of all that. What was that source? Coming events are set to cast a shadow before. Past events cannot fail to leave their impress behind them. Shadow, source. I said earlier that evolution is starting from one point, one principle, that Parabrahma, and that is one source. And from various races and various species are evolving, course of time, not only on Earth and every planet, and they leave behind history. Not in the form of alphabetical description, but in the form of shadows. That means what he's talking about Akashic record. Then by those shadows of hoary past and their fantastic heroes on the external screen of and she says those shadows are left by those stages of evolution. The religious philosophy are derived only in exoteric form, and that's why they are incomplete. But checking them and comparing them, we can have some idea that there have been actual history of the not only human being but all the species on the earth, even much before the recorded history started. That is much before the 5,000 years before. There must be truth and fact in that which very people of antiquity accepted and made the foundation of religion and faith. Moreover, when Helebrian said, here on one side and you will be on the dark, here both sides, then you will know. So her point is that the description in scriptures of theology of various civilizations and also science, they bring out only one side, or the smaller side of the picture, human evolution. And to have complete knowledge, we have to see the occult side of the human evolution to have complete picture. The public has hitherto had access to and has heard that one side, or the rather one-sided view of the two diametrically opposite classes of men whose prima facie propositions or respective premises differ what? Two prima facie men, that means scientists and the religious people, people of religion, people of scripture, theologians, but whose final profession are the same, the men of science and theology. And now our readers have an opportunity of hearing the other side, and so of learning the defendant's justification and the nature of our argument. If the public is to be left to its old opinion, namely on the one side that occultism, magic, the length of old, etc., are all outcome of ignorance and superstition, and on the other that everything outside the orthodox grove is the work of devil, what would be the devil is bringing? That means in Christian theology, sometimes the concept devil has come. That means everything which appears abnormally from the point of physical observation or sense observation, they say the work of devil. That's why he's bringing the word devil. It's not in our Hindu scripture. So, in other words, had no theosophical and mystic literature obtained a hearing for the last few years, the present work would have but a poor chance of impartial conclusion. He said, unless this theosophical doctrine or theosophical knowledge is brought to the world, before that it was impossible for any man or any human being to consider these facts brought out it, and at the most they will consider fairy tale. Even now, most of the people will consider the details given here as fairy tale. In fact, he mentions in the secret doctrine, very beginning, that if you do not follow these descriptions intellectually or are able to not grasp it, then you first consider fairy tale only, and must try to read, and gradually you will realize the facts behind the descriptions given. So, the serious reflection, but on serious reflection and serious contemplation, we found a basis on which the argument. That's why it is also recommended that serious doctrine must be studied by connecting to the mind of the author. What is the method? That way, by trying to read behind the lines and behind the words for various, and that will develop only when try to make it seriously studied. Even the ancient superstition and credulous classical writers have no word of reference to it in clear and unmistakable terms. When you say the ancient superstition and credulous writers, classical writers, that means the writers of our religious scriptures, they do not have any clear and unmistakable terms for these stages of evolution. They have used symbols which fail to yield a hint of existence of such a system. That means ordinary person do not realize do not understand the explanation of those symbols. Symbols and allegory. All these scriptures are given in the form of symbols and allegories. And unless we go behind the description of those symbols and allegories, taking the symbols and allegories literally will lead us nowhere. But when it becomes undeniably proven that the claim of the modern Asiatic nations to a secret science and esoteric history of the world is based on fact, and though hitherto unknown to the masses and veiled mystery even to the learned, because they have never had the key to a right understanding of abundant hints thrown out by the ancient philosophers. He said the difficulty has been that man has not the key to understand the descriptions in the theological literature. That means our Puranas and Bible and other literature. And that's why they are not prepared to understand the deeper facts. The statement that hitherto even the key discovered, and some people who claim that they have discovered the key, we find that they were rusted key. That means they were not a real key through which the knowledge was gained. That means what rusted means. That means rusted mind, which tries to understand the things, is still burdened with the worldly features, worldly problems. So that is rusted key. Unless mind is purified and devoid of the worldly problems, worldly urgents, then only the deeper truth can be ascertained and understood. And that's why the importance of meditation and purification mind is important for understanding the facts. A statement that is totally even the key discovered by some great scholars are philosophy for use, and that they are but the silent statements that their true existence is behind the ways which are unreachable without a new key is born out too many. That means new key. That means we have to make our mind sharp. How to make? By deeper study, by contemplating. Then only we can feel a glimpse of the real facts with the secret of. But though here she is quoting one example of a French philosopher about Masonic. In Orthodox Masonic, rightly or wrongly, Reagan, an illustrious and learned Belgian Mason, Reagan was a learned Belgian Mason, reproaches English Masons with having materialized and dishonored Masonry was based upon the ancient mysteries by adopting into mistaken notion of the origin of the craft, the name of Freemasonry and Freemasons. She is bringing this para to show that our intellectuals or our learned people in the past have taken those allegories and symbols literally. And that's why the human mind present stage find it difficult to understand the real meaning. Mason word,
सगळ्यात जोरात चिलर मध्ये ठेवा म्हणा प्लीज वेट गुड्डो
some noise is coming. The mason word, as you know, is for the person who, craftsman who builds the wall and bricks, he lays the bricks and the stones together. But Freemason knew well when he adopted the title of Feng Kuan, which is not a Magbare, but Freemasonry or Freemasonry. That is, it was no question of building the smallest wall, but that of being initiated into the ancient mystery. This Mason is not a builder of the stone wall or brick wall, but initiation into the system. Once initiated in the system, he called Mason. That means he starts building the subtle or invisible faculties, which are real faculty for the development of human being. And she says when it is said that the ancient initiated poets, when speaking of the foundation of a city, meant thereby the establishment of doctrine. Thus Neptune, the god of reasoning, and Apollo, the god of hidden things, presented themselves as the father to build a city of Troy, that is to say, establish the Trojan religion. When she said in those descriptions, when he said that the Mason started to bring a city in which the god helped Apollo and other gods of Greek philosophy, that does not mean a physical city. That means a esoteric school of the philosophy which they understood. And she says in Secret Doctrine, when in Hindu, our scriptures, when they mention Soma Jews, Somaras, you might have heard. When it is mentioned that Somrus is distributed by the priest to others, it means that he is trying to tell others to establish a esoteric school of the wisdom, not the physical juice of some plant. The plant by name is also there, but the hidden meaning is that real wisdom. So means also wisdom aspect of the moon. So that while distributing som ras or som juice means distributing the esoteric wisdom among the peoples and asking them to set up esoteric school so that other people can benefit from the wisdom knowledge. So, though we have pointed to many misconceived symbols bearing on our thesis, there still remains more that one difficulty to overcome. Most important among several such obstacles is that of chronology. Chronology means time sequence. She said we are describing from the first round and first race and all those things, but difficulty has been how to assign the time frame for that is chronology. But this could hardly be helped by it in between the theological chronology and that of geologists, backed by all the metric anthropologists, was an date to man and nature, which fit in with their own theories alone. What could the writer do? He said theology also there in certain period and vague period, and the modern geologists they based their age based on the excavation performed by carbon dating and all those things, but they remain all incomplete because carbon dating cannot be done for the objects which had no physical body. But as we read in the secret doctrine, the human being in the first race and second race were almost etheric body. So she says modern science are considered the creation only about 5,890 years ago. That means about 2,500 BC. And since the accurate researches for methods of exact science have led the geologists and physicians to assign to the encrusted age of our globe between 10 million and 1,000 million years. He's pointing out that description given by geologists are varying. Some say 10 million years, some say 1,000 million years of the crust of the earth. And appearance of man, they are saying between 25,000 and 500,000 years. That means there's vast variation. This fact is brought out only to show that these figures are completely unreliable because so much variation is there. But to do this corroborately by even a few historical proofs has been necessary, though all know the real value of so-called historical proofs. For whether man appeared on Earth 18,000 or 1.8 crore years ago can make no difference to profane history, since it begins only about a couple of thousand years ago. Whether man appeared 18,000 years ago or 1.8 crore years, as secret doctrine says, it doesn't affect the recorded history, which spans only a few thousand years ago. Esoteric teachings were corroborated and supported on the spot whenever possible by the reference to the historical names of the so-called historical period. Historical period is given by name of Miocene, Eocene, and all those things. And in the secret doctrine volume 2, there is a correspondence given between the Miocenic age and also the secret doctrine age and some of the scriptures age even. This necessity has been complied with, and this was a labyrinth, like a good bolea, in which of prehistoric ages have to be ascertained fact. It is only hope that desire to do so which has led the writer to the constantly bringing ancient and modern evidence as a corroboration of the archaic and quite unhistoric past, will not bring on her the accusation of having totally jumbled up without order the method of various separated periods of history and tradition. In the secret doctrine commentary, you see, she has brought out writing from the ancient scriptures, modern scriptures, and also science to corroborate some of the facts. So she says that's why some people who read it for the first time, they see it is all jumbled up and the facts are disconnected. But the purpose of those references, whether it be of Puranas or the Vedas or the Chaldean Kabbalah, are only to point out that these facts existed in various forms, but in a scattered form and symbolic form. That means humanity knew it, but not in a complete detail as given in the secret doctrine. To accomplish the proposed task, the writer has had to resort to rather unusual means of dividing each volume into 3 parts. He says each volume has been divided into 3 parts. First is going to be stanza, the commentary. Second is allegories and symbols. And third is secret doctrine science contrasted. To give a wholesome picture of the man's development, his purpose in life, and purpose of whole evolution. Key of wisdom that unlocks the massive gates leading to arcana of innermost sanctuary can be found hidden in her bosom only nature. So the certain birth philosopher she is quoting, and she says the sign of the entire history in nature. Nature means visible nature and invisible nature both, and that's why unless we know or we realize the facts of the nature, both visible and invisible, we cannot know our history, human history. Thus far, and that's why she has given the evolution of even planets and earth and plants and animals, that the whole nature evolution is given to understand our own evolution. But one important para comes, and she says, thus far have proceeded the rough outline of the beliefs and tenets of the archaic earlier races, but our explanation are by no means complete. She says, at the end, our explanations are not complete, and even this has been partially accomplished. This is our goal has been to prepare a soil so that future theosophists or future wisdom students may go into deeper and supplement it. Our main concern has been simply to prepare the soil. This we trust we have done. These two volumes, that means volume 1 and 2, constitute the work of a pioneer who has forced his way into the well-nigh impossible jungle of the virgin forest of the land of the occult. A commencement has been made in felling and uprooting the deadly upas trees of superstition, prejudice, and conceited ignorance, so that these two volumes should form the student a fitting prelude to volume 1 and 3. She is always emphasizing that the first object or first emphasis of all these wisdom knowledge is that to uproot superstition, prejudices for human mind, which she says somewhere that like cobweb, bringing cobweb from mind. Here is deadly upas tree. Upas tree is some tree which is poisonous and grows out of the ground that has to be uprooted, not only cut down from the stem, but uprooted from the human mind. And she says, unless it is done, and this is the purpose of volume 1, volume 2, and unless it is done, the matter in volume 3 and volume 2, volume 4 cannot be given unless the rubbish of the ages is cleared away from the minds of the theosophists for whom these pages are described. The third volume should be understood. Consequently, it is entirely depend reception of the volume 1 and 2 shall meet the hands of theosophists and mystics, where these last two volumes will ever be published. She has said in that conclusion that volume 3 material is already, and volume 4 is also ready, and these can be given only after the matter given in volume 1 and 2 published. But when she died after that, nobody could find the material of volume 3 and volume 4. Later, an Besant found some matter, some scattered papers in her handwriting, in handwriting of this one, Blodsky, and she published in volume 5 of 6th edition and volume 3 of 6th edition, 6th volume edition, those items. But there have been some controversy later on, and they were excluded. So some portion of that has been published in the form of esoteric instructions compiled by Michael Jones. This was about volume 3 and volume 4. So this completes the introduction to secret doctrine, philosophy of secret doctrine, but she added also Isis Unveiled, and she has recommended the Isis Unveiled should be studied along with the secret doctrine, because two are giving a different set of facts. Only 20% of facts are overlapping. And while in this point, she is emphasizing that 10-point summary should be read first. She is starting with every chapter of the Isis Unveiled. It starts with some quotes of ancient philosophers. So this chapter, where the summary is given, is also starts with a quote to show that these facts were somehow known, or at least ancient writers have some glimpse of that. She quotes one A. Wilder philosopher who said that problem of life is man. Magic, or rather wisdom, is the evolved knowledge of the potencies of man interior being, which forces a divine emanation as intuition is the perception of their origin and initiation or induction to knowledge. We begin with instinct, we end with omniscience. That means short paragraph, Mr. Wilder gives the purpose of human evolution, that we begin with instinct, that means animal level, and we have to end with omniscience. We have to achieve Sarvagita. That means all the 7 principles have been perfected in course of evolution. And this can be done only by developing magical power. Magic is not miracle. There's a difference between miracle and magic. Magic is evolution or manifestation of the divine faculty in man, which can come only after the following the wisdom philosophy, practicing it, and understanding it deeply. So she said 10 fundamental points. First, she said there's no miracle in nature. Everything that happens is the result of eternal, immutable, ever-active law. Apparent miracle is but the operation of the forces antagonistic to what Dr. Carpenter said, the man of grace. She said that the apparent miracle is not according to some contradicting any natural law. These are also according to the laws, but which are not known to science. So in nature, there's nothing like miracle. There's nothing like chance, it is. Everything happens from the cause. And secondly, nature is triune. There is a visible, objective nature, and invisible, indwelling, energizing nature, the exact model of the other, and its vital principle. And we have these two: spirit, source of all forces, alone eternal and indestructible. The lower two constantly change, the higher third does not. Man is also triune. Entire nature is tuned. The man is also triune. He has the objective physical body. He is utilizing astral body, soul, or the real man. And these two are brooded over and eliminated by the third, the sovereign, the immortal spirit. And the real man succeeds in merging himself with the latter means spirit. That means when he reaches that atmic level, he becomes the immortal entity. In Isis Unveiled, she has described only tuned classification of man and nature, but in Secret Doctrine, she comes to 7-fold structure of the man and nature. Fourth point given is summary point in Isis Unveiled. Magic as a science. What is magic? She defined magic as a science is the knowledge of these principles. These principles what? Principles of nature, principles of man, their way, their working, and by which the omniscience and omnipotence of the spirit and its control over nature forces may be acquired by the individual physical body. So magic is the science of the invisible operations of the nature's laws and how to work out those laws, how to manifest those laws while in physical body. Then arcane knowledge, arcane means mysterious knowledge, misapplied is sorcery, beneficently used through magic or wisdom. Mediumship is the opposite of adaptship. There is mediumship and adaptship. Mediumship is the passive instrument of the foreign influence. The adept actively controls himself and all inferior potency. The adept, that means persons who practice the yoga and all this Gyan Yoga, gets the powers of controlling the nature forces at his will, and he uses that power only for beneficent of the human being. All things that ever were, that are, or that will be, have their record upon the astral life, are tablets of the unseen universe. The initiate adept, by using the vision of their own spirit, can know all that he has known or he can be known. As earlier I mentioned that according to Secret Doctrine, all the happenings, all the incidents, even the meeting we are holding today, are recorded on the astral tablet or Akasha. And from there, any adept which has that capacity of seeing through inner faculty can see what happened at what time. And this is the method it was applied for determining chronology of first races, second race, and all those things, as given in the Secret Doctrine. Then eighth is races of men differ in spiritual gifts, as in color, stature. It is said that men differ in their spiritual gifts. That means his spiritual faculty evolved. Okay. Just like every human being differs in color, size, profile of the body, speech, sound, his accent. Similarly, every person's spiritual faculty, or even mental faculties differ because each human being is different. This is a dualism. One phase of magical skill is the voluntary and conscious withdrawal. See, now in this 9th point, she is briefly describing the process of the obtaining the magical skill. Conscious withdrawal of the inner man from the outer man, physical body. That means going into samadhi. In the case of some mediums, withdrawal occurs, but it is unconscious, involuntary. She's again bringing this mediumship because people consider the mediumship as a spiritual faculty, spiritual work, which is not so, because medium is under influence of the other person who is trying to influence his mind. But the adept or who has attained this stage by his own effort, there is difference. He says when he withdraws his astral body from the physical senses, his physical system remains active. Only his appearance is in the form of deep study. He is studying something deeper and not giving attention to that. Whereas in case of medium, the body appears to be almost a dead body. The cornerstone of magic is an intimate practical. Now, what is the cornerstone? Foundation of magic is this: the intimate practical knowledge of magnetism and electricity, their quality, correlation, and potency. Magnetism, electricity. Again, she describes that these are the fundamental forces in nature. In fact, whole nature web is just electromagnetic forces. And more we study these electromagnetic forces and their qualities, their interpretation, and their correlation, we get this knowledge. Especially necessary the familiarity with their effects in and upon the animal kingdom and man. There are occult properties in many other minerals, qualities as strange as the lodestone that which creates the faculty of the property of the magnet, which all its practitioners of magic must know, and of its so-called exact science is boarding good. Plants also have little mystical property. Every mineral, every plant has got some mystical property, which are known when we learn the science of the magic. That means when you come to know the properties of magnetism, electricity, and their correlations. So the modern science needless to say, to our unknown to it, yet the physical effects, even these few upon the human system, are regarded as evidence of temporary mental disorder. She said, well, the modern science does not do this esoteric aspect or deeper aspect of the plant, except the some aspect of hashish and opium. And when a person consumes hashish and opium, the science says the man has become a mental disorder, but it's not disorder. It's psychic faculty is affected. And in fact, he sees something in astral body, astral form, which in physical senses he is unable to see. To sum up all in few words, magic is spiritual wisdom. Magic is spiritual wisdom. Nature, the material ally, pupil, and servant of the magician. One common vital principle pervades all things, and this is controllable by the perfected human. Common vital principle, that is prana energy, is pervading all. And the adept or magician has power to control the pranic energy. And by that, working out the pranic energy, he can accelerate the growth of plants and animals in a supernatural degree. Such experiments are not obstruction of nature laws, but only aid to nature law to accelerate its function. In Isis Unveiled, she has given some instances where a magician displayed the power by accelerating the growth of plant. Within few days and few hours, the seed developed into, say, it is sprouted, seed is sprouted into the plant, and plant developed into full tree and also gave flowers and fruit in few days. So she said these are the powers by which the adept controls the nature forces, and pranic energy, one of the important forces, vital forces, which accelerates or decelerates the growth of plants and other beings. Adept can control the sensations and after the conditions of the physical and astral bodies of other persons, not adept. The adept can control the forces and physical and astral bodies of such persons who are not adept, but he cannot control will of any person, even of ordinary person, because spirit is the immortal spirit of everybody is same. So even adept cannot change the spirit of any being. He can only change the astral and mental faculties of a being by his power of magic. So with this, ends the philosophy of esoteric doctrine. So now, anybody?
I wrote to the participant, if they have any questions, they can ask it by writing chat box. Still then I invite members who join this program, they can ask questions on this very interesting subject. Interesting subject, they can ask any questions they like. There are from international audience, the brother Dubal, brother Bhagwan Barwani, you all, both of you are welcome to this interesting session. Barwan from Pakistan and Dubal from East Africa, somewhere in Africa. You are welcome, sir.
You are muted.
Barwan sir, kindly unmute if you want to.
He is given thanks only.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
You unmute. You are speaking, but your mic is muted.
Barwan sir, your mic is muted. Unmute your mic. Like
Yeah.
to add this.
Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Bharwani, you are joining from which place?
Yes, I am from Karachi.
Karachi. I visited Karachi a few years ago.
Yes, yes.
Who is now president of Karachi Lodge?
Okay, as there is no question, thank you very much, Pandey ji, for your nice presentation. And I request Mithalini ji to the closing prayer.
Namaste to all.
Namaste, Vitali.
Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurmang amrutangamaya sarve bhavantu sukhinah sarve santu niramaya sarve bhadrani pasyantu na kasye dukhabhag bhave. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.